Hi, my name's Ruan and this is my channel, The Yorkshire Sew Girl. How are we all diddling? I hope we're all really well. I'm good. I have got back from my holiday at the weekend and it's miserable out there right now. And I'm kind of wishing I was back in the sunshine. But you know, we had a lovely week, myself and the family, and we just chilled out. We had a little villa with our own little pool and it was just beautiful. The weather was fabulous. But yeah, back down to earth now with a bump. But never mind, it is what it is. We have to go back to work to earn the pennies to be able to go on holiday. So I shouldn't really complain, should I? Now, I've been promising you a makes video for quite some time, haven't I? Well, today is the day. But this book that I have here, I have not been filling in properly. You know when everybody comes on in January and they're like, my New Year's resolutions are to fill my book in. Oh, I didn't do a resolutions video and I haven't done a Make 9 video either this year because, if I'm honest, I'm chuffing rubbish. I'm just so rubbish at them. I'm like, do you know what? Don't think I'm going to set any sewing resolutions this year. It's just going to be what it's going to be. So I've spent a little bit of time just quickly flicking through this since I've been back from holiday and writing up a review of some of my makes. Now I've done 2 plans videos recently. One was my autumn winter plans, and some were plans for my summer holiday. Not my summer holiday, the holiday I've just been on, which was kind of a sunny summer holiday. So what I thought I'd do now is I'll do a review of the makes that I did for autumn winter, and then I'll do another makes video which covers the things that I've made for my holiday, because I haven't written all them up yet. I've written 2 out of the 4 up, but 2 of them I haven't, so I've still got a bit of work to do on that. But guess what? From my So Hayley Jane box that I received this month, they had little paper clips in them, little gold ones if you remember rightly. Well, I've used them in my book so that I can flick really cleverly from one to another. Quite pleased with my little self, so that I know where each of the things are. So doing a plans video for my autumn winter makes did definitely help. And I know I mentioned in that I was only going to do between 5 or 6 patterns at a time and kind of concentrate on those, because if you're anything like me, your mind starts working and it's very difficult to kind of set in stone what you want to make, because there's so much inspiration out there. There's so many new patterns coming out. There's so many new fabrics that you end up getting a little bit clouded with the overwhelm, and then you end up not being productive. So I decided I was going to choose 6 patterns, 6 fabrics, and that's what I did. So if you haven't seen that plans video, you can always nip back and have a look at it if you so wish. But I'm going to talk through them all today, all with the exception of one. And one of them is my Nova coat, because that was in my plans video. I have made the coat, but I have also done a full review of that pattern. So if you do want to have a look at that separately, you can do, because there's a bespoke vlog just on that, and I did that in conjunction with the lovely Sera from Super Bale Sews. So I've got 5 things to talk you through today. Good day. I actually got every single one of my plans made, and one of them was just slightly tweaked. Sounds mysterious, but it's not. I'm sorry to lead you up that path. Shall we start with what I'm wearing? Shall we start with that? Shall I show you? I'm only going to be wearing this one though. I'm not going to be going and trying loads of different things on. You know, that's not my bag. But I will be putting pictures in somewhere along the line so that you can see everything that I'm talking about. So one of the first plans that I talked you through was the Soraya jumper by Fibre. And this is this. So I decided I was going to make it in this very thin leopard print mustard knit that I'd had for quite some time from the lovely Andrea Beyond the Pink Door. And it was quite funny actually, because she saw my plans video, realised she had some of this left for herself, and went and made it straight away. So it was quite funny because I'd planned it and then I saw it on Andrea and she was like, thank you for giving me the inspiration. I was like, I haven't even made mine yet. So we're twinning now because we've both got one. But yeah, I love the Soraya jumper. And I do think this is probably the best kind of knit to make it in. I've seen quite a few that are in, I would say, quite a thick knit fabric, and it can be quite bulky, I think, whereas this is a very nice, beautifully thin knit fabric. So it just feels lovely, and you could layer it as well. So let's talk the Soraya jumper. So it's a very simple design jumper. it has 2 cords that run from the bottom all the way up into the shoulder seam here, which makes it look a bit fancy, but it's dead easy to do. We love stuff like that, don't we? So it's kind of a very simple jumper, but it's just elevated a little bit with some ties. So I'll stand up and show you what it looks like. But again, I have got some pictures. So it's just a drop shouldered jumper. I think there's 2 necklines. There's this really big, thick one, and then there's one that's probably about half the size, so you can kind of do it. So it's a lot further down if you don't like a lot around your neck. I like quite a lot around my neck. It's got, yeah, these 2 ties. Now I've pulled them and cinched them up a little bit, if you can see, so that the line of it ties up. And then I've just tied it into a bow to keep it that way. But you can see there's like a slight gather then all the way up. It's got really simple sleeves, but you can probably see here that I think mine are a little bit short. It's not so bad when I'm kind of stood like that, but if I move at all, can you see there's quite a lot there. So let's talk size, and it goes from an XS to a triple XL. It only has the bust measurements on there though, but it goes from a 30-inch bust to a 57.5-inch bust. It does give you though the length, the sleeve length, and the bust in finished measurements. And it's a very boxy style jumper, as you can see. So it's got 2 lengths. You can do it in like a really cropped version if you want, or you can do it in a long version, and you can do it with or without these ties in it. But I think that adds a little bit of zhuzh to it, you know. Now, my sizing came out at an XL. I'm about a 42, 43 bust for frame of reference. And people were screaming at me when I was planning this, particularly Alison from So Like Dotty. Do not make your size. Size down. Warning, warning. So I took Alison's advice and I sized down twice. And I'm really pleased with how it's come out, because it is still a little bit oversized. It's very boxy, but because it's in a light knit, it falls really nicely. And I think I would stick to an XL and to a medium. A medium would still come out at 52 inches on the finished bust measurements, and I'm about 42, 43. So it gives you at least 10 inches around the bust. So you can see how oversized it is. I probably could go down one more if I wanted to, but I think for me, this is perfect. I added 2 inches onto the bodice of the longer version. So there's the cropped and the longer version. And I added an inch onto the sleeve, but in hindsight, I would add another inch on. Someone did say on one of my other videos, because I think I was wearing it, you could use your scraps to make a cuff, and that was such a good idea, but I can't find my scraps. They're at the bottom of a bag somewhere that's eventually going to be put into a closet called puff. Is it now? Anywho, so yeah, really, really pleased with that. Let's see what else I've got. Nice, quick, easy sew. Did most of it on my overlocker. I just did the hems using the Mariflex thread. On my sleeves, because I knew it was going to be too short, I did just overlock, turn over and hem it really quite a short hem. So I think I could probably get away with adding another inch to this at least, if I was going to make it again, which I think I will make it again. Probably not now, because we're heading into warmer months, hopefully, in the UK, but I would definitely make this again because, yeah, it took no time to make whatsoever. And I really enjoyed doing these little ties that run up the side. And I just think it just gives a little bit of extra, doesn't it? And the good thing about this pattern is you literally need your fabric and your thread. That's it. There's nothing else that's going on. So that's number 1. I did it. I did it, guys. I did it. Right, what should we go to next? Should we do tops first? Look at me flicking through. Let's talk tops. So I think I mentioned in my makes video that I was making 3 patterns that I'd already made, I think, before, and 3 patterns that I'd never made. And I think that's probably going to be a theme as I go along, as I'm doing my plans, is I want to make more of patterns that I love wearing, so that I get loads of use out of them, but I also want to explore new patterns as well. So that's kind of how it's going to go. But as you know, I've already made 2 Marnies, but I needed this one in my life as well. I love this one so much. I would like to say this is my favourite one, but I don't think it is. I think my favourite one is the first one I ever made in that khaki double gauze fabric that I am just so in love with. So I think there will be another double gauze one in my future somewhere. But Wow, look at this fabric. Is it not the most beautiful fabric you've ever seen? Now, this is a Lise Taylor fabric that I got again from Beyond the Pink Door. I'd wanted it for ages and I think it sold out somewhere, and then I saw that Andrea had got it and I was like, do you know what? I am having it no matter what. So yeah, I just absolutely love it. The black background with all these beautiful pops of colour. It's just irresistible to me. I finished it off with a little purple button at the back. I think that was something that I got out of my So Hayley Jane box. Now, I've made this pattern several times before. Let's talk sizing. It goes from sizes 1 to 15, which is about 6 to 34 in the UK. So the bust is 30 inch to 60 inch, the waist is 24 inch to 53 inch, and the hips are 33 inch to 61 inch. I should be between a 7 and an 8 across my bust, waist and hips, but I've made a size 6. So it is very oversized. I have made my other 2 previous ones in a size 5. And they're both absolutely fine. Although the one that I made in like a cotton lawn doesn't feel tight, it just feels closer than my double gauze one, because obviously there's a lot of natural ease in that fabric. So I decided I was just going to go up 1 size to a size 6, which is still between 1 and 2 sizes below what my actual body measurements are. But I didn't want the garment to wear me, if you know what I mean. So I've, recut the pattern as a size 6 and it's spot on. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's have a look. Oh, one thing that I did do is I actually lost the Rolo loop piece for the back. So at the back, you have your little button and then you have your Rolo loop. And so I just cut my own. And unfortunately, I cut it too big. So I need to just hand stitch. If you can see this, I'll show you. That's the Rolo loop there. It's larger than the binding. So I just want to get a little hand needle in there and stitch that up to stop it from fraying, because I want this to last as long as possible. It's finished with binding around the neckline. It's got a beautiful back yoke with that opening here with the button, and it's all gathered here. Same at the front. I chose the option that didn't have the tucks, so you'll see on the pattern that there are tucks in that. I didn't use that on this occasion. I've used it on both of my other ones, but I decided on this because the pattern was, quite busy, that I'd go simplistic. So the same on the sleeves. You've got your big bell sleeves here that are gathered in here, but I didn't do the pleats, the tucks. They're called something, undulating tucks or something like that they're called. So yes, so I made a size 6 and I'm very happy with the size. It sews up really nicely, this pattern. I'm a big fan anyway of Tilly and the Buttons instructions and their booklets and how everything's laid out. It's really lovely. The sleeve was a really good length on me. The actual, I don't think I made any extensions to it whatsoever. I haven't written that down if I have. No, I don't think I did. I think I did it exactly as I was because I had to try and get as much out of the fabric as I possibly could. I think I only had 2 meters of that fabric. I can't be 100% sure, maybe 2.5, but I think I had to really eke it out, if you know what I mean. So I didn't extend it and I was a bit worried that I'd not extended it, but it's come out perfectly. So I can't complain. That viscose is one of the nicest viscose I've ever worked with. In fact, it feels like a viscose twill because it's like a heavy viscose. So it works very similar to like a lawn really, in the fact that it presses well, it sews really well. Yeah, it's just beautiful. So yeah, that is my 3rd Marnie now. I still haven't made the one with the frills. I don't know why I had to do that. I haven't made the one with the frills, but maybe that will be something that I look at. I quite fancy the idea of, I keep looking at it because it's over there, a sleeveless Marnie with frills. What do we think? Might have to give that a go in the summer because I think that would be really cute. Although they are my favourite sleeves ever. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to adapt those sleeves potentially onto a Lyra dress at some point, because I could wear those sleeves all day long. I love them that much. But yeah, I'm not going to go into it too much because I have talked about my other Marnies an awful lot and you don't want to hear me jibber-jabbering about that all the time. Right, what next? Oh, the other thing that I made was a pattern that I've already made, and that is the Jarrah sweater by Nielsen. This is the beauty here. So I've made this pattern a lot of times, not gonna lie. I've made it 3 times for myself and 3 times for my mum. Now, I made my mum one a while ago, and then she asked for one for Christmas, so I made her 2 for Christmas. So she wears hers on rotation because she loves them just as much as I do. But I had this fabric, and I think when I did my plans video, I couldn't remember where I'd got it from, and I had a moment the other day, and it was from the Samantha Claridge sale when she sold fabric, but unfortunately she doesn't anymore. And it was such a good price, I seem to remember. It may have been when she was kind of clearing all the fabrics out, and it's a really unusual fabric, isn't it? I think I got it originally to make a cardigan with, but then when I was kind of sat thinking, I want to make it up out of my stash, I don't want it to sit there because it's one of the oldest fabrics I've got in my stash, I kind of saw the Jarrah sweater. But it's so unique because it's got all these colours, and then it's got this like pattern that goes all the way through it, almost like it's quilted, but it isn't. It's very strange. So I'll be putting pictures in as well so you can have a proper look. The Jarrah sweater by Nielsen is my favourite jumper pattern ever made, and I love the fact that you can get lots out of it. I have, though, made 5 of them exactly the same and 1 of them with the split sleeves, and that's this one. So it goes from sizes 0 to 20 in the standard range and 14 to 30 in the curve range, which is fabulous. So that's a bust of 32 to 60 inches, a waist of 24 to 52, and a hips of 34 to 62 inches. I should be ranging between 16 to a 20, depending on my bust, waist and hips. But I made a size 12. Now that sounds drastic, doesn't it? The reason for that is because when I first made it, I was a lot thinner, and I had cut into the paper pattern. Yeah, I know. What's wrong with me? It was a long time ago. You know, I've learnt my lesson since then. But my old ones still fit me, so I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to wear them. So as you can see, if I'm kind of between a 16, 18, 20 on my measurements, but I made a size 12, you can see it is very oversized, so you can get away with it. Again, it depends on how you want it to fit on your body, but I'm more than happy with it because I'm eternal optimist and always think that I'm going to be 2 stone lighter this next year. It never happens. But anyway, so I did make the size 12 and I love it. It fits perfectly. So there's a crew or a funnel neck on it. There's 2 sleeves. There's the one with the cuff, which I've made on all my other ones, and there's the one with the split sleeve, which I've made on this. There's 4 hem styles as well. So you've got a straight one, the curved one, which is the one I've made on every single one of mine, a waistband that you can put on with cuffing, and there's also a waist tie as well that you can do. So I just think for this pattern, for the price you're paying for it, you're getting a lot for your money, because I've made 6 and I will definitely make more in different styles because I really like how it's shaped. I added 2 sleeves on to the length, 2 inches onto the sleeve length, and I don't know if that's just a little bit too much. Actually, I might just nip ½ an inch off because it does come quite low, although that is quite nice as well, so we'll see. And I also added 2 inches to the front and back to lengthen it because I didn't want it too cropped, and that length is perfect for me, so I'm really happy with that. I can't say enough about this pattern because I just love it so much. It's just wonderful. So yeah, that's my 6th one. So I've definitely got my money's worth out of that pattern, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who wanted to give something a go. It's a really simple make. Again, I made majority of it on my overlocker and then just finished the hem off with Mariflex thread, and Bob's your uncle, Betty's your aunt. In regards to the sleeve, I was never interested in the split hem sleeve until I saw Rachel, my gorgeous Rachel from Stitched Up, had made one, and I was so jealous. That is why I have actually made the one with the split sleeves. And it's just right fancy. It's right fancy when you wear it. Only thing is, it will get in the way if you're trying to wash up. But you know, needs must when you want to look good. So that's the 3 tops I made. So I made 2 jumpers and my beautiful blouse, and all of them go very well with my Nova coat that I made as well. My Nova coat is actually hanging up over there. So then I've got two dresses to talk to you about. But before I do that, I do want to just quickly talk to you about my serious light. Now, I know I have talked about this before. I do work with serious readers, and I just would like to say I really appreciate the fact that you support me when I am working with brands. So I'm just going to talk about that now, and then I'll come back to you and talk about the two dresses. Okay, for you guys that have followed me for a while, you will know that obviously I love my serious light, which I've had for quite some time now. I think I've been working with serious readers for about a year, maybe. But this is my serious light. It's a high definition light, and it uses daylight wavelength technology. And I think you probably already know, because I've read about it before, that I do absolutely, genuinely, 100% love it. So much so that my mum's got one now as well. But obviously things are starting to get a bit lighter as we start to head into the spring here in the UK. But I am still using my light a lot, because obviously I do like to do a lot of sewing in an evening because I've got a family and I work, so sometimes that's the only time I get to do it. But I've also been using it recently for my cross stitch. Now, I thought I'd show you this because I've just started a cross stitch and it's on black Ida, can't remember what you actually call it now, this bit here anyway. So it's on black, which makes it actually very difficult to do the stitches on. So I've been doing this just on an evening over about the last 4 or 5 nights. I tend to pick cross stitch up and then put it down quite a lot. Just depends how I feel. But have a look at this as well. This is the pattern. Now I've got, well, I think I have, it's a while since I've had my eyesight checked, 20/20 vision. I don't need glasses for any situation. Look at the size of that. So I'm like this all the time. So I've got my little generates tracker, because I've had to use this, it's the only way to do it. But I'm kind of like this. So I've been taking this downstairs because where I sit, my seat in the living room is in the corner. I've been sitting there in the corner and I've been taking this down and using that. Now, husband has been like, that is so bright, I can't stand it, I can't see the television. So I've been using the focus on it to make sure that it's focused directly just onto this, so that he's not blinded when he's trying to watch the television. But it's come in so handy. I also have another lamp of theirs which isn't high definition, and it's very, very good, but I would say this is 100% better because it uses that daylight wavelength technology. So I just wanted to say a thank you as well to people that have actually bought the lamp on my recommendation and have messaged me to say how wonderful they found it. It really does help when you're supporting a brand and that you're working with them, that you do get that positive feedback as well. So I just want to say a big thank you. I do have an offer code if anybody is interested in investing in this as well. It's £100 off any of the high definition lights plus free delivery. And if you want to take up that opportunity of getting the discount, you need to use the code SR506 at the checkout. I'll pop all the details in the description box below, and you can go and head straight through on that link if you so wish. And again, if you do buy it and you love it, please do let me know. Right, back to the rest. Right, let's get on with the dresses. So one of the dresses, I ended up changing the pattern. I was going to make the Naomi dress for some fabric that I bought when I went over on my recent work trip to Germany. This is the fabric here. And I was going to make the Naomi dress, but that had come up quite big on me and I'd had to do some alterations when I made that. And I'd also already got this pattern, so I decided to give this one a try instead. And I love it. This is the Pattern Emporium Dream On dress, it's called. Now, this pattern is bonkers, as quite a lot of the Pattern Emporium patterns are. There's so many options on this. Again, with Pattern Emporium, you're getting a lot of options for your money. So for example, on this one, it's got a fitted bodice. So all of them have got a fitted bodice, but then it's got 2 gathered skirt tiers, 4 lengths, so you can do mini, knee, midi or maxi. It's got pockets, obviously. 3 round necklines, so you've got a high neckline, a mid and a low. You've got a roll neck version, a sleeveless version. You've got 5 plain sleeves. So there's a plain one, a cap one, a short sleeved, 3/4 sleeves and a long. There's bishop sleeves as well that you can put on there, or a cropped bishop sleeve. And you can also make it into just a skirt as well on its own, which has got 4 lengths. I know. Now, if you've never tried Pattern Emporium patterns, they are incredible. The amount of detail in those patterns is bonkers. Very, very good for a new starter, I would say, although sometimes the amount of information may be a little bit overwhelming. For someone like me, it's not a problem because you have to kind of skip depending on which version of that pattern that you're making. But overall, I found the instructions fantastic. Very much holding your hand, and I enjoyed the whole process. So that comes in sizes 4 to 30, which is a bust of 27.5 to 54 3/4, a waist of 21.5 to 48 3/4, and a hips of 31.5 to 58 3/4. So good sizing again on that. You don't have to grade either if you're less than 2 sizes different across your body measurements, which is good for me because I always am. I kind of go like this. I'm like a diamond. So I go out in the middle and then come back in according to most people's charts. So that was good. I didn't have to grade anything. Now, I should have been an 18 on my bust, a 20 on my waist, and an 18 on my hips, but I just made the straight 18. And I probably could get away with sizing down to the 16, to be honest, but I really, really liked it. Now, I would have loved to make the long sleeve version of this. However, I just didn't have enough fabric. I think I had 2.5 meters from memory. Again, this is why you're supposed to write it all down in your book, Ruan, so you remember it all. So what I did is I cut out as much as I could and then just did the little cap sleeves because that's kind of like all I could do really. But I love it. The colour in this fabric is beautiful. So it's like a bubble knit, like a, I don't know, it's like a crinkly knit. It didn't tell me what the composition of it was when I bought it when I was in Germany. But so it's got the fitted bodice and then it's got 2 tiers. Now in the instructions, it tells you how to gather with elastic. And I've never done that before, so I gave it a go and it was rubbish. It didn't work for me. So then I had a look at Sam from Frugalissima's video on hers, how to do it. Hers worked a lot better, her instructions. I'm very visual as well, so that helped me with it being a YouTube video. However, the seams are very small on these patterns. They're overlocker width basically. So it's quite hard to put elastic into such a small seam allowance. So for the bottom tier, I just did the old traditional basted knit type of thing, and you know, with your long stitches and pulling it in and gathering it traditionally. But it was a lot of gathering. I remember thinking, oh, this is going really well. Oh, I sewed up in no time. And then I got to the gathering and I was like, oh, somebody help me. But yeah, I'm really, really glad I persevered with it. It was a really simple make. Everything went in really well with it. Can't complain. And the length of it works as well. The only thing is I would have loved for it to have had long sleeves. However, it's good because I can layer this up with something over the top of it. So I'll get some wear out of it in the spring as well. But I think the colours are really perfect for the time of year and things like that. So I would definitely recommend that pattern, and I can see myself making some more of those. It is very similar to a couple of ready-made dresses that I've got. The only difference is the ones that I've got tight sleeves, whereas these aren't that tight. So I might have a look at the measurements on those because I do prefer the other ones, the ready-to-wear ones, I think. And maybe just make some adjustments on the sleeve head and maybe make the sleeves a little bit tighter. But yeah, it's drafted for 5'5", but they do have a tall line on it as well, which is 2 3/4 inches more than the shorter version. So that was kind of almost 5'8", which is what I am. So I just went with the tall line on the pattern pieces and it's worked out really well. So very happy with that one and definitely will be making some more. Right, let me find the last one. The last one will not be a surprise to you guys. Probably boring myself talking about this pattern as well, but my last one is a Lyra. Now, the reason it looks like this is because it's soaking wet because it's been in the wash. I've just washed it and hung it up. So it's not ironed. It's still very wet at the moment, but I wanted to just show you it because how stunning is this fabric? It is just beautiful. This fabric again was from, I think, Pink Box from Beyond the Pink Door. There's a theme going on here, isn't there? There's a lot of fabric from Beyond the Pink Door and I just loved it the moment I opened it. I just fell in love with it. It's just so beautiful. I think it's the mixture of the lilacs with like darker autumn colours and the teal. it's a colour combination I probably wouldn't put together. I'm not a massive fan of brown. Don't know why, because it really suits me, but I'm just not a massive fan of it unless it's in leopard print, obviously. And normally if I see something with brown in the pattern, it turns me off. However, this one certainly didn't turn me off because of all the other colours that went with it. I just think it is stunning. So I'll put some photos in so you can see it a bit better anyway. I'll whiz through this one, shall I? People like that, Ruan, how many Lyras can you make? I'll tell you how many I can make because I added them up. Where have I put it? 5, I think it was. Oh, I didn't write it down. Anyway, 5 I've made altogether. Size wise, again, is size 6 to 34. So it's 30 inch on the bust to 60 inch, 24 inch on the waist to 53, and 33 inches on the hips to 61. So great size range again. But I have sized down on this quite a bit. It's a very loose pattern and I don't like them too loose. It depends kind of what style it is. So on my bust, waist and hips, I should be in between a size 7 and an 8, but I've actually made a size 5. Now, I think I could possibly do with going up to a 6 if I'm 100% honest. Again, it depends what fabric I'm making it in and how much ease is actually in the fabric. I have no issue with wearing this. I wear it all the time, as you can tell, because it's been in the wash. But I think if I was to like cut the pattern out fresh again, because again, it was one that I just cut out of the paper pattern, I would maybe do it in the size up. And I have recently bought in the sale from Little Miss So-and-so the paper pattern again, because it was such a bargain. And my paper pattern is, it's not looking its best, you know what I mean? Because I've used it so often, which is a good thing. But I think what I might do is trace out the pattern from the new pattern and do maybe a size 6 for now, just to see how it is. But in hindsight, I did wear my Lyra that I haven't worn for ages, which is in a black viscose crepe with bright red poppies on it, the other day to work. What day I'm on now, and I loved it. I loved wearing it and it fit me perfectly. So I just don't know. It's one of them things. So yeah, a size 5 is what I've made it in and love it. Now, the Lyra has 2 versions. It has 2 tiers. So a short version with just 1 tier, which I have made, and another tier, 2 tiers for the longer version. I've kind of mixed it up. I've done 1 short, 2 long, and then I've done 2 in the middle because I like to be a bit special. It has short or long sleeves, and I managed to get the long sleeves out of this. Now, I'm a little bit proud of myself, I'm not going to lie, because in a Think Pink box you get 2.5 meters of fabric. Well, 2.5 meters to get a long sleeve dress out of is quite hard. But how I've done it is I cut all the bodice pieces out, the collar pieces, and the sleeves out, because I wanted the long sleeves, and then I cut the tier out. And instead of doing 2 tiers, I did 1 tier that was as long as whatever piece of fabric I had left over, basically. And I'm super happy because I managed to get it out with maybe that amount of scraps. So I was really pleased. I didn't put pockets in it because I just didn't have enough fabric for that, but I'm okay because I kind of wear it to work and things like that, so I'm not too bothered about that. But yeah, no pockets in it whatsoever. But yeah, I managed to get it out of 2.5 meters. Yes. It's not the most pretty inside, I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes have a problem with the Lyra with the neck line, with the collar. We see, I know it's a bit wet, so it's hard because it's all creased up, but this part of the collar band, I think it is, always tends to be too long when I then come to stitch it down. And I've tried loads of different methods. You lovely people have given me loads of hints and tips as to how to try and get round it. But because the length of it is so much bigger, I struggled. And I was in a bit of a rush to try and get it finished before I went to the knitting and stitching show. So I just whizzed it up. But it's not the prettiest inside. But you know, no one else is going to see that. It looks great from the outside here. And this part of the collar's all perfect. So, hey, it's not an issue. But I may have a look at that next time because I think I found that in all 5 of them. And I may adjust the collar stand slightly to make it a little bit smaller to hopefully fit in a bit better. Or I'm going to block interface it first, then cut it out just to make sure that I'm 100% accurate. Because when you're working with viscose, sometimes when you come to cut things out, it can go a little bit skew-whiffy, can't it? I used more buttons than it tells you to. It tells you to use, I think it's 4 or 5 buttons, I can't remember. But the placement on them, on my black one with the red poppies, is not in the right place for me. So I chose to do more. And I've actually got an outrageous amount on this, 7 buttons, but that's because I had 7 of these type of buttons. And these were in my stash from my local shop. Can you believe that? How well do they go with that dress? That's a bit spooky, isn't it? I just thought they were absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I wore this to the Knitting and Stitching show and I got so many compliments. It was so lovely. And there was quite a few people that came and went, oh, I've got that fabric too from the Think Pink box. I didn't know what to do with it. Right, I'm going to do that. A lot of people were saying, did you buy extra fabric? Because how have you made a long sleeve Lyra out of it? I was like, I don't know. It's very clever. Because also I have added 2 inches to the sleeve of the Lyra and 1 inch to the bodice. So there's a little bit of extra length on there as well. But I love the Lyra. It's a bit of an involved mate, don't get me wrong. The good thing about only doing 1 longer tier as well is you've only got 1 lot of gathering to do instead of 2. See, there's a little bonus in there. So what do we think? What's your favourite make out of all of those? Obviously I made my Nova coat as well, which I'm absolutely suited with. There's not one out of those 6 makes that I don't like, which is always lovely. I think when you're making plans and you're making patterns, you're almost a bit safe, aren't you? 50% of the plans that you've made are patterns you've already made before, because you're not going to be disappointed by those. But it's always a risk, isn't it, when you make a new pattern, as to whether it's actually going to suit you, or whether you like it, or whether you think you've actually chosen the right fabric for it. So I'm absolutely ecstatic that all of mine have turned out really well. And I love the fact that I can wear all of them with my Nova coat. So yeah, that's me done for today. I hope you've enjoyed that. But yeah, please do let me know which is your favourite down below. Have you made any of these patterns before? What is your favourite? Do you love the Lyra and the Marnie as much as I do? Do you love the Jarrah sweater as much as I do? I know I may be boring, but you know, I've got to make things for my wardrobe at the end of the day. So I try to bring a little bit of newness, a little bit of oldness as well at the same time. I hope you're all well. I hope you've had loads of time for sewing, and I'll see you again in my next video, hopefully very soon. Take care. Bye.